Quite an interesting opportunity to sit and talk with you about what I understand from being a man about how you have better relationships with all the men in your world. I'm talking to women because men I talk to all the time in circles and in the Mankind Project, where I work at various levels and have lots of conversations with men. But I want to be an interpreter. A friend calls it a Gnostic interpreter, intermediary between what women experience and how men are. So let me start with, on this list of many things that women might want to know about why they're having challenges and they're relating with men, with the idea of the barriers to entry that occur when you're trying to be in relationship with a man. And I don't speak for all men. And I come from a place of just being me and knowing now in my 68 years almost of being on the planet, the things I've experienced and why it might be of some service to you. Okay, barriers to entry. We think we know. We live in a world where we are constantly tested from school. We are always in competition. In fact, I grew up thinking sports was all there was. And this idea of winning and losing is so ingrained and so important to my sense of who I am and what's going on that I still regularly battle with this idea that the illusions I have about the way things are and are not are real. They're just illusions. I've come to understand that intellectually and certainly at a soul level, that mystery is all there is. But I still have this reactive, emotional, chemical reaction to things that cause me to feel, then begin to think in ways that need to have defense. I need to protect myself from you, women, men, the world. And as you encounter your man, father, brother, son, partner, you will find frequently that this is a common experience. There is a big defense mechanism, a big protector energy, a risk manager, we call it in the men's work, that will be constantly coming up to protect his sweet, vulnerable heart. It is sweet and vulnerable because all of our hearts are sweet and vulnerable, but he has never probably been allowed to just open it without feeling the risk of another man cutting him, teasing him, saying he's lesser. Even the parents in his world, the best, most well-intended parents, have put him in a competition. He has to be better than he is somehow. Not that he is lovable and okay just as he is, but that there's something he has to do, something he has to be, some amount of money he has to gather, some amount of self-worth and titles he needs to put around himself, or he's not enough. This is not that it's not, these things are not true for women, by the way. It's just that the men take them on in a way that's more tribal, a more intense, a more alone way. In the men's work, very frequently, the thing that men say after a weekend initiation that is most touching is, I never knew that I could trust other men. We come up in a world where this competition, this need to defend myself, this need to be somebody in this pecking order. You look at corporate life, or the other ways in which we create the organizational structures, and there's a boss and then everybody's below them. It is a pack mentality we live in. And so where I rank not only determines who I am, it in some ways has a, almost at a genetic level, how much I get to eat, right? The top dog gets to eat, and we see it in our world all the time. And right now there's an aberration going on where the top dogs are eating all the food. and the rest of the dogs are not getting to feed at all, or very much. So you're going to run into my imagination, at least. And since I now get, let me just a little preface here, since I now get that we live in a world where the mystery has lost its power. Heschel, the fellow who was the confidant and dear friend, really heart-to-heart connection with Martin Luther King, said that we've lost our sense of awe, and that one of the things he and Martin were trying to do is help people reconnect with possibility, the big, amazing thing that life is. And it's hard for men to stick with this subject because there's so much pressure, so much threat, so much I have to defend against, that this big energy of defense comes up in every possible way. You point as gently and lovingly and tenderly as you can at something you know your man needs and wants. Big defense. I say that because I know it. I do it. It is who I have been. So when that comes up, it's a long, slow, deep process for him to start to trust enough. What happens on men's weekends frequently is we create a safe enough container, and everyone in there will, as he encounters these feelings of protection, raise our hands in affirmation that we feel that way too. And when he can look around the container and see that all of these men feel the same fear, all of these men feel the same anger, feel the same loss, the same insecurity, I can rest a little bit. Okay with being who I am, because there is, in this way our culture treats us, no place where I'm actually okay. Even the star quarterback, the smartest kid in school, the people who have achieved all that external, still have at the base of this the energy that came to create that. Was for me, I was the smartest kid in school, except for Pete Klosterman, damn him. I was the smartest kid in my school, but I still felt totally insecure in sports and insecure with relationships, how I dealt with other people. And it was not until I did all of this inner work and where was in enough safe containers that I even began to risk saying what I really feel. It robbed me of the ability to sell or create good negotiations, because I was always looking for, how do I keep that person over there on my side, being an ally and or at least pretending to be a friend so that they wouldn't attack me? How do I keep them happy, smiling, not threatened, and still get my way? A very, very duplicitous and deceitful almost level way of being that I'm learning still to this day to just relax. And I'll probably say this next piece in every one of these offerings. Over the years, these now 50 years of doing yoga on and off with more or less intensity in my life, yoga only being not the thing that we see in the West, but this version of relaxing into the moment, being really present. When I risk dropping my protection, the tightness in my body, the sense of solidness that would be able to handle a fight, be able to handle a confrontation, a challenge, a threat, all of that energy that is up for me most of the time, certainly in the world, by the costume I put on, the look on my face, I want a certain muscular strength so that I can keep the threats down, all of that stuff. When I drop it, it becomes a kind of vulnerable, frequently sadness comes up, Frequently, tears will come up. Sometimes a sob or two come out as I drop down and let go of all of that protective energy. Until I can actually be relaxed. So I'm going to say that what I can do is, if you have a relationship in which the man has this protection up and you can't get through, I've learned ways to get through. There's a kind of relaxation that I can help the men in your world see that might allow them that freedom that I felt just moments ago as I was dropping, that allows the sweetness to come out, this softness, the tenderness that is at the core of all of us. I've seen over and over again in initiations and in circle, men drop out of that protection and into this sweet vulnerability. And then they're able to have their hearts open. In the men's work, we frequently say, I will, and I can love you even before you can open your heart. But I can't really trust you until you open your heart and I open my heart, and we stop the pretense, stop the persona, drop our risk manager, and just meet here. Like Rumi would say, out beyond right doing and wrong doing, out beyond you versus me, into a place of just the we. And we can drop our guard, tell each other the truth. So relax, and I mean profoundly relax. The word profound comes up every time I try and describe this. It takes me 10 minutes of level after level, all the places in my body that I have had to or wounded emotionally or physically, all the places where I hold on to stay strong, all the places where there's resistance to being forced to do something I don't want to do. I mean, I have resistance to doing this beautiful woman I love and who loves me more than I love myself, I'm afraid to admit, challenges me all the time to step past this urge in me to stay safe and risk having this conversation, offering this imagined reality to you. And then it just is what it is. There's something about my recognition, and I judge from my work, communicate, that the prison I've kept myself in, the prison that a lot of men hold themselves in, that is around having this sense of all I'm able to do. Excuse me, my little signals are getting crossed here. The world that I'm holding myself in, it should be something other than it is. That it should be different. It shouldn't be this way. And as I battle with that reality all the time, I wind up creating illusion to protect me from the way things are, fighting with the way things are, and always losing, because the way things are is just the way they are. It's just the way they are. So here we are, relaxed, able to accept things the way they are. There's a piece of, if I can just notice that in the way things are all the things I want and need, but they are hidden in plain sight. My filter keeps me from being able to see what really is in a way that gives me the portals, the openings, the possibilities that really are there all the time. And so a kind of faith is required that even though I might not see it right now, everything I want and need is in this moment, this swimming mystery of why and how things are that is true. I just don't see it yet. And given that premise, I'm actually relaxed. And from that relaxation comes a kind of, as Tammy Simon, I think, from Sounds True says, the egoless, the only egoless wisdom comes from the body. If I really relax my body, that's something natural, that's something pure, that's something real can come to life. Whew. A real breath where everything tingles and you get chicken skin all over, as the Hawaiians would say. And the feeling comes of, I remember who I really am, and I can feel I embody that real power, real safety, real security, not the false ego protection against all that I perceive from my ego perspective as vast and beyond me, but from something inside, I grow to a place of power. Relax, full, pranic, kundalini, all the yogic energies fill me. They are. I needn't battle with them, but I can start to merge with them, can savor the way things actually are. And from that savoring, rather than the resistance or the craving for it to be some other way, I can begin to have a connection in this that then begins to reveal this mysterious picture of, oh, there's how I can find a way out. There's the love that I didn't see before. There's the understanding that I was blocking myself from seeing because I wanted it to be some other way. All I need to do is release this passion. What needs to be done? What opportunity do I now see that I couldn't see when I was fighting with reality, when I was in my sense of protection, when I was, I think, I hope, there's a way for me to help you help the men in your world see their way to that understanding. Come to the place where they can start to release this passion, their power, their authenticity in a way that's will be reassuring, reaffirming, and incredibly delightful for you to interact with, as opposed to the protection and trying to fight your way through this protection that they put up for all the right reasons. I mean, it's there for all the right reasons. They needed to protect that sweetheart of theirs. If this makes any sense to you, and if you want to have me step in and have a free conversation with your man, uh, your brother, your father, your son, your partner, reach out. I can be found on Facebook, Jan Darwin Hutchins, on LinkedIn, Jan Hutchins, and through the link that will be here on the screen below. I look forward to opportunity, uh, and I've spent my life putting myself in a position and working, I think, in a, in a reasonably constant, conscious way to lower my guard and learn to become vulnerable. Thank you for the opportunity if you choose to give it to me.